Welcome to this morning's international news. Let's hear the headlines first. Myanmar releases 25,000 prisoners amid coronavirus fears. In Modi's India, virtues fall out in flames divisions between Muslims and Hindus. Indonesia reports highest number of coronavirus cases in Southeast Asia. Rice ATM feeds Vietnam's poor amid virus lockdown. WHO regrets US decision to halt funding. And nearly 2,600 US coronavirus deaths in 24 hours. These were the headlines. Let's jump into the details news now. President Win Mint said 24,896 people jailed across the country, including 87 foreigners, would be freed unconditionally. More than a quarter of Myanmar's prison population is being released, the president's office announced on Friday, after calls grew to ease pressure on overcrowded jails with coronavirus fears gripping the country. The Southeast Asian nation grants an annual amnesty of thousands of prisoners to mark its April New Year holiday, but this is the largest recorded in recent years. It comes as governments around the world, including the US, parts of Europe, and Colombia, grapple with overcrowded prisoners as fears spiral of virus outbreaks behind bars. To mark Myanmar New Year by respecting humanitarian ground and peace in mind of the people, the president pardons altogether 24,896 prisoners from various prisons, a statement Friday from the president's office said. The purple ink stamped on Iqbal Hussain Siddique's hand by Indian health workers was supposed to ensure he stayed home under quarantine. But the 66-year-old Siddiqui, an egg seller in Mumbai's sprawling Dhobi slum, rubbed it off as best he could and went back to work. The mark would have condemned him to being stuck in an unventilized one room without a toilet. It was also, he claimed, part of an effort by the Hindu nationalist government of Prime Minister Narendra Modi to target Muslims like him, using health workers to gather data on the community under the guise of containing the COVID-19 pandemic. Modi wants to make Muslims second-class citizens, said Siddiqui, who was ordered to be quarantined after a neighbor tested positive for the virus. There is no one who is sick. It's all a lie. His suspicions were echoed by a half-dozen other Muslims whom refused to talk to Daviri. Even though community leaders say they have been trying to convince people that the health workers are in the district to protect them from COVID-19. As the coronavirus sweeps across India, Modi's government has responded by imposing a lockdown on the country's 1.3 billion people. As of Friday, India had announced 437 deaths from the disease. Indonesia reported on Friday 407 new coronavirus cases, taking the total number of cases to 5,923 and surpassing the Philippines as the country with the highest number of infections in Southeast Asia. Health Ministry official Ahmad Yuranthio also reported 24 new deaths attributed to the disease, taking the total to 420, and said Indonesia has performed 42,000 tests for the virus. A Vietnamese entrepreneur in Ho Chi Minh City has invented a 24/7 automatic dispensing machine providing free rice for people out of work following an ongoing nationwide lockdown to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus. Vietnam has reported 262 COVID-19 cases and no deaths so far, but as a result of 15 days social distancing program that began on March 31, many small businesses have been shuttered and thousands of people temporarily laid off from work. Thi Lee's husband was among those who have lost their job. The Rice ATM has been helpful. With this one bag of rice, we can have enough for one day, said the 34-year-old mother of the three children. Now we only need other food. Our neighbors sometimes gave us some leftover food, or we have instant noodles. The machine distributors a 1.5 kg bag full of rice from a small silo to waiting workers, many of them whom are street sellers or people who earn a living from cash in hand, like housekeeping or selling lottery tickets. The head of the World Health Organization says it regrets the US decision to halt funding. Tedros says the US has been a long-standing and a generous friend to WHO, and we hope it will continue to be so. He made the comments after President Donald Trump announced a halt to US funding, temporarily suspending millions of dollars from the UN Health Agency's biggest funder. Tedros said WHO remained committed to slowing the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, and it would work with its partners to ensure that any funding shortfall could be met. COVID-19 does not discriminate between rich nations and poor, large nations and small, Tedros said. This is a time for all of us to be united in our common struggle against a common threat, a dangerous enemy. When we are divided, the virus exploits the cracks between us. Tedros said, whose member countries and independent organizations will assess the UN Health Agency's performance at a later date, but the focus must remain on ending the outbreak. The United States on Wednesday recorded nearly 2,600 additional deaths from the new coronavirus in 24 hours, a new record and the heaviest daily toll of any country, Johns Hopkins University said. A running tally from Johns Hopkins showed 2,569 victims at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, compared with the same time the previous evening, bringing the total number of US deaths to 28,326, higher than any other country. The figures came after President Donald Trump earlier in the evening said the data suggests that nationwide we have passed the peak of new cases and will announce Thursday the first plans for lifting coronavirus lockdowns. According to Johns Hopkins, the number of cases in the US reached 636,350.